kef. So it could be al-na. In most instances, you do not need to translate the particle na. So example will be page 217 under paragraph 1815. Let's see. Alna novera. Novra. Do not let us perish. John 1:14.
When it goes untranslated, we're obviously not having meaning that says please. Why is it there? Is it only that it's a request?
You see that please is always throwing people off because it's not really please.
Right. It seems to me it denotes a
It's intensified request.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Well, what I find confusing is it's an intensified request with the na there, but he's using all instead of lo. So it's like he's using the weaker negation with the more intense all or la.
You
or
see,
na.
in this context, it's not intensified as much as you want to think it is. I'm just talking in general about the particle na.
Right.
That it's usually either left untranslated or the please used to intensify the request. In this situation, it's probably the best not to translate it at all because it just doesn't make any sense.
At least in this verse where do not perish in Jonah 1:14, knowing the context, it almost sounds like a pleading. I mean, this is not a simple request, this is a pleading in this case.
Yes, but we have to keep in mind that according to popular theology of the day, you could not demand something of God. You can ask him, and whether or not he will do it, that wasn't for sure.
So to say lo to God would be a little bit too.
Yeah, that would be a command. You can't command God
Can't
because
command,
you see,
good point.
Hebrew God is not the one to be manipulated by. I mean, manipulated by people. He is the one that is manipulated. Often.
Yeah.
But this
Yeah,
is
a
simple
couple
request,
things.
Not saying, God, please don't let us die. This is a pleading. No, this is
Yeah, it's a plea. It's basically cry out to God's mercy.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I mean, they know they're going to die because the storm it's from Jonah. The storm is huge and they're already throwing everything aboard.
Yeah,
And
Alex.
they're praying, and we know that they're praying each to their own God. And that's usually a sign of very significant awakening among the people, you know. The heathen that they were still praying to different gods, all gods that they knew. They even prayed to Jonah's God because they were just trying to make the problem go away. They didn't know that Jonah was the problem, you know, and they make him go away.
Yeah, a couple things, Alex. The distinction on where you use al versus lo is usually lo connotates something that's always true. Whereas al is something that, okay, don't do it this time or don't do it right now. And then you usually find na when some peon is talking to a superior person.
Okay, that explains it.
God just says, lech leha. You know, just go. He doesn't say lech na. What is lech leha? It comes from cholech or halach. To go, to walk. Lech is a imperative of that. For crying out loud. Negation. The al yihar afeha be'abdeha. So, translation: do not let your anger burn against your servant. Afha. What is af?
Anger.
Well, what else?
Nose,
Is
nostril.
It's nose. That's right. So when somebody's angry, if he knows that the steam comes out of their nostrils, kind of like picture that dragon with that dragon breath, you know, coming out of the nostrils. And so that's the image of anger when there's a lot of temperature in your head, you're just releasing have a big nose?
No. But she was asking
And when he
me.
told her so, she was angry.
I said, see what your nose is doing right now?
That's why they go together. So they-
No, but it was just great because I was talking about how Hebrew is a pictorial language, and she was just totally thought it was incredible to hear all this, and I was just sharing with her. And that's the one I used, was that example. And I said, you know how people flare up their nose? She's like, oh yeah. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Interesting. It's a good way to explain or to get somebody excited about something by explaining different aspects of the language. Okay, the next task is our homework assignment. And I forgot to include here the paradigm for the imperative, which is actually on page, page 206 in the bottom. There's a paradigm, imperative paradigm for strong verbs. It's just the second person,
You want us to memorize this?
singular and plural. Yes, I would like you to memorize that probably for our upcoming quiz.
That it?
206.
AP14?
And, oops,
Whoa.
here are all the exercises that are due for next class. Okay. You'll probably turn off the camera now. Thank you. 19. Let's get to our presentation. We're going to be introducing pronominal suffixes on verbs. You have seen already some of the examples on how we use verbs in conjunction with pronominal suffixes. Usually we have used the definite marker, or what is called direct object marker, and we would put the ending or suffix, pronominal suffix, at the end of it to make a statement, a verbal statement. Well, with the introduction to today's lesson, we'll actually learn how to adjudicate these suffixes directly to the verb. In this case, verb will have a subject and the object in the same word. Okay? For example, if you want to say with a verbal statement, he will keep us, you can say, Yishmor Othanu. Right? That would be a use of that direct object marker. When you will add the suffix or pronominal suffix directly to the verb, you don't have to deal with that direct object marker anymore. You can say Yishmerenu. You see? This way you're actually saving space in your writing, and you have a subject and object of the verb in the same construction. Another example is similar to that. Shafat Otheha, he judged you. Or you can say Shafatha, which would be he judged you the same way, but ignoring that direct object marker. On your page 222, you'll see some of these examples, how the verbs are constructed with the pronominal suffixes at the end of them. You'll actually see how they're parsed as well. For example, Yishmerenu is parsed as kal imperfect third masculine singular from shamar with first common plural suffix. So that's the way you should be parsing these verbs that include the pronominal suffixes at the end of them. And as a way of introduction to all that, we should say that you already know that when a pronoun is the direct object of a verb, it is commonly attached to the definite direct object marker. So that's what we've seen in the first couple examples. The suffixes added to the definite object marker are the same suffixes that you will see on verbs. So you don't have to study a brand new set of pronominal suffixes. You will just directly add them to the verb. And chart on page 223 will give you the whole list of these pronominal suffixes, the ones that you have forgotten, maybe. So the first common singular would be hirik yod at the end of the verb, or at the end of the direct object marker. Second masculine singular would be usually kaf, final kaf with kamets. Second feminine singular would be usually final kaf with shaba. Third masculine singular would be holem vav. Sometimes it could be hey with shurek, right? Then third feminine singular could be kamets hey, or hey with kamets right underneath it. See? First common plural is usually nu. I always remember that by Emmanuel. That's the name Emmanuel, which means Emanu, to us, God. Emmanuel, like Elohim, El Shaddai, and so on. So Emanu is actually with, Nu is us, El, God. So God is with us. So Emmanuel, that's the easiest way to remember that. Then second masculine plural is usually hem, or kem, whatever way you want to pronounce it. And second feminine plural is hen, or can. Then the same way with hey and mem, hem, third masculine plural, and hen, third feminine plural. So you can distinguish between the pronunciation of the two if you'd like. Alright, there's also type 1 alternate suffixes that you should pay attention to. There's not too many of them, but sometimes they do appear in the conjugation. So look them over. And of course, at the bottom of the page, you have the full paradigm for katal with pronominal suffixes at the end, so you can see how the pronominal suffixes are added onto the root of the verb and how the vowel pattern changes.
How could you ever use that first one?
He killed me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he killed me with his words.
So on a figurative sense.
Or if you are dying and you are testifying to someone who is over you, you're saying, he killed me.
Okay, then you expire.
And then you say, ah. And then it's they were writing something on the case.
That's right.
That's from
What do you call me? Shit.
Holy
Holy
Grail.
Grail, Monty Python, Holy Grail.
The hunt for the quest for the Holy Grail, something like that.
Some call me.
Did the enchanter.
What is your name? Okay, pronominal suffix. We're getting first part of that paradigm. Okay, so you can see here a little bit clearly how the suffix is added onto the trilateral root of the verb. In the first instance, it's actually ni. That's the type 1 alternate suffix is used as opposed to hirik yod. And that hirik is supposed to be under nun, not under yod. It's just the way my computer likes to present it. So, please don't pay any attention. Huh?
Which font are you using?
It's Ezra Sil something. It doesn't translate into Technia font, so I have to use Ezra because it has a slightly better looking Hebrew letters.
Because I have Gideon.
Which one do you have?
Oh.